It is the first day that schools are suspending communal activities as ST talks to parents about these mitigation measures. A diagnostic kit to test a larger number of samples in one run, quickening the virus testing process. And finally, can I get infected by pressing a lift button? We have the experts' opinions. It's 5:30 p.m. here in Singapore. You're watching The Big Story, where we will discuss the hottest topics of the day and explain why they matter. I'm Haryanto Diman, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. A man from Wuhan, China, who previously tested positive for the coronavirus, has recovered and was discharged from the National Centre for Infectious Diseases. Now, dubbed case number 7, the 35-year-old is the first patient to be discharged. Another could be discharged in the next few days. Now, meanwhile, from primary and secondary schools to junior colleges and special education schools, students across Singapore saw new measures implemented today. This comes in light of the new coronavirus cases revealed yesterday, where 4 people were infected through human-to-human transmission.
As a result of these developments, as you have just heard, government will be implementing additional precautionary measures in our schools and in our preschools because they are considered a vulnerable sector. We will implement some social distancing measures for school-going and preschool children. Namely, we will suspend our mass assemblies, we will cancel camps, and we will stagger recesses. So the aim is to circumscribe the intermingling of students by not conducting mass-level learning activities.
To keep students safe, assemblies and other communal activities will be suspended in schools from today. Co-curricular activities and after-school programs may continue, but in smaller groups. Health checks and temperature screening for all children, staff and visitors will continue as well and occur more frequently. To tell us more about these mitigation measures that are in place, we have journalist Jolene Ang. Welcome, Jolene. Jolene, for a start, how will this suspension of activities affect the day-to-day schedule?
Okay, so firstly, there'll be no more mass assemblies starting from today, even though some schools have already started implementing it a week ago. So assembly is now done in the classrooms. So the schools will usually broadcast the national anthem or the school song over the school's PA system. And the students also take the pledge in the class together with their friends. And then after that, they do the temperature taking exercise in class. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the staggered recess timings. Again, some schools have been doing this even before the coronavirus outbreak, but that was simply for logistical reasons. So for example, a whole cohort in a primary school cannot fit in the canteen at the same time. So in the past, maybe it used to be they split it by lower and upper sec, but now some schools are doing it by like P1 and P2, P3 and P4, P5 and P6 and so on. So it's even greater staggering of recess timings. Yeah. So for JCs, we've also heard that some schools are making adjustments. For example, to avoid having large groups of students in the same place, Hwa Chong is splitting up some of its lectures. So the maximum number of people that can be in one place is 100 people. So if there are more than 100 students trying to attend the same lecture, it will be split into 2 places and the 2 lectures will be done simultaneously.
Right. Julian, on that, you spoke about JCs, right? Now, today is the first day of school for JC1 students. How are these new measures affecting them?
Yes, so orientation for JC1s is usually about the first week of school or so. So we've heard of a few major changes in some JCs. So for example, Hwa Chong is cancelling some of its segments like the mass dance activity segment. And there's also talks that there's a post-orientation party that was supposed to happen, but it could also be cancelled. Meanwhile, at National JC, they are also shortening the orientation period by a day. So I think it was supposed to end next Wednesday, but they're going to end it on Tuesday instead.
Right.
So for today itself at NJC, there were some games that were cancelled. So students were split into groups and they attended talks instead of playing games. Yeah.
It's quite a pity, right, that because orientation is a big part of schools or of starting school, especially for junior colleges.
Yeah, that's right. So orientation is also a period where you get to make friends with people outside your class, within your cohort, and that's always a fun way to start the school year. So yeah, it is a pity that these activities are affected.
Yeah.
We've also reached out to MOE to see if they have issued any guidelines to the JCs to find a way to balance and sort of give the students a full experience somehow.
Right. But I suppose, of course, at the end of the day, the health of the students and even the staff of our school, they are the utmost priority in this situation right now, right? And Jolene, of course, you spoke to parents about these measures. Do they feel that these measures are sufficient? What are their response?
So there were some mixed responses. Some parents felt that it was sufficient. So for example, a parent that I spoke to mentioned that she was actually glad that they were doing greater staggering of recess timings because this would prevent overcrowding, and she said it would give children more time to, say, wash their hands properly. There's a few steps to washing your hands properly, right? So if there are fewer children trying to crowd the sinks and all, she said it would be better. But of course, there are also some who feel that even more can be done. So maybe some of them said that cancelling mass assemblies and large gatherings is a good step, but maybe not really enough, because even in the classroom setting, the classroom is still a good setting for germs and possible bugs to spread.
Yeah. Have any parents say express concerns or even suggest for schools to shut?
I think there have been some calls for that, but I think the ministries are monitoring the situation, and we are not sure under what circumstances there will be a national shutdown of schools.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Jolene, for coming on to the show, to shed more light on these new measures that have been implemented in schools. For more on the coronavirus, of course, you can head to straitstimes.com. Now, looking beyond our borders, the number of confirmed deaths in China rose to at least 490 after the authorities in Hubei province reported 65 new fatalities earlier today. The total number of confirmed cases in the country has gone over 24,000. Over in Japan, around 3,700 passengers have been quarantined on a cruise ship anchored off the port of Yokohama after 10 people on board were tested positive for the coronavirus. The infected patients have been transferred to hospitals on the mainland. Meanwhile, South Korea confirms 2 more cases, bringing the total to 18. One of the cases involves a patient who had returned from Singapore. The 38-year-old man was here for work and had contact with a Malaysian who had tested positive for the virus. Meanwhile, scientists are trying to understand the genome of the virus. By understanding its genetic material, a diagnostic test and a vaccine can be developed. Now, joining me now is Dr. Ong Sui Hua from homegrown biotech company Acumen Research Laboratories. Now, she's a cell biologist who has developed a diagnostic kit. Such a kit would be able to test if people have contracted the virus. Welcome, Dr. Ong. Now, Dr. Ong, if we could start off by first telling us, how this diagnostic kit works. What's the process like?
Yes, so this diagnostic kit works by identifying specifically the DNA of the coronavirus 2019 nCoV. So the process involves collecting patient samples, which could be sputum or the bronchial alveolar lavage from the lung, and identifying the potential presence of the coronavirus genetic material.
Right. Doctor, I'll just need to stop you right there. If you could explain to us and tell us, what do you mean by sputum?
Yes, the sputum is the sample that comes from the cough of the patient. Yeah.
Okay, so that is what you are collecting?
Yes.
Right, okay.
The doctors will collect, and the sample will be put in a tube and sent to the lab for extraction of the viral genetic material and put into our test kit for testing.
Right. And how long usually the results take from, say, putting into the test tube, extracting, and then putting it under the
Yes.
checks?
From sample to result, it takes about 2 hours.
Oh, okay. And in this instance, for this diagnostic kit, I understand that it can test a larger sample in one run.
Yes.
If you could explain more on that.
Sure. The way we have designed it is that instead of running one sample each time by putting the sample into one reaction tube, we are designing our test to be in a multi-well format, and we call it the 96-well format. In such a design, per run with the machine, we can process 24 patient samples.
And therefore means you can test even more patients, and it quickens the whole
Correct.
confirmation
Yes.
process
So
as well.
given that the policy now is that every patient who has a pneumonia should be tested for the presence of the coronavirus, the number of pneumonia cases is large, and we would like to be able to get the answer as quickly as possible.
Right.
So 24 samples each run versus 1 sample each run.
And Doctor, if you could tell us as well, so now that the kit has been developed, right, what are the next steps for it? Is it going to be used here in Singapore?
Yes, we have a very advanced prototype with the analytical validation done in our lab, and the next step is for us to contact the doctors and work together with them to perform clinical validation. That means actual patient samples will be tested. And to date, for our development, we have used synthetic DNA.
Right. And will it be used here in Singapore?
Yes, we want to implement in Singapore as soon as we are
Wow,
able to.
that's certainly good news, and
Yes.
certainly we're looking forward because it would be able to help in the whole process, right?
That is correct,
and
yes.
And of course, eventually help to combat managing the
Yes.
coronavirus
Early
outbreak.
detection for early specific effective treatment is really important. Effective screening of the real positives among the large number of pneumonia cases will help us to curb the spreading. Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ong, for coming on to the show, to share a bit more about the diagnostic kit that you've developed, and of course, certainly how it works, and how, right now, the fact that it can test a larger sample, which means that results will be faster.
Yes.
More people can be tested in one sitting, and therefore, in terms of management as well, it expedites the whole process.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Ong.
you.
Now, to read more on this, the story will be out on straitstimes.com. And in case you missed it, a senior correspondent Joyce Teo was on the show last week, where she spoke about the different types of masks and how to wear one correctly. Now, here's a snippet.
So this surgical mask has 3 layers to it. The coloured one is the outer layer, and then there's a middle layer, and that's the filter, and that's the inside layer that makes it more comfortable for you to wear. So you put it here, hold it, put the strap behind, and then put the other strap behind. And then you have to make sure that the top part of the metal is molded here. Press it down a bit, and then make sure you pull this down over your chin, so it should ensure a snug fit, so everything should fit properly like that. Okay. The important part is to the removal, so hold the strap and then take it off, and then maybe hold this part and then throw it away. So don't take off your mask by touching the mask surface, because it will be full of virus, right?
For the full video, visit the Straits Times YouTube page. Well, Joyce is back here in the studio to share a few more things she learned from 2 infectious diseases experts. Welcome, Joyce.
Hi.
Now, Joyce, you asked these experts questions that have been weighing on people's minds. For example, a recent report said that the coronavirus has been found on a doorknob in the house of an infected person. So the question is,
Yes.
can you get infected by touching a doorknob?
Okay, so I guess you can, because there's contact transmission, but the experts are saying that the risk is very low. Yeah, so it's not like, you go home, you touch it, you're not gonna get it, yeah.
Right. And
Yes.
also, in the same vein, what about lift buttons? Can you contract the virus even in... so one, of course, lift buttons, because, a lot of us take lifts, and
Yep. You always press
enclosed
the button, yeah.
and buttons, right? And enclosed spaces, for example, like cars, taxis. What about in those situations?
Yeah, it's the same, so it's contact transmission, and these are high touch points. So, you know, it can be a door handle, it can be, I don't know, something that you touch all the time is possible. So the experts are saying you have to wash your hands, public toilets as well after you use it. And actually the key thing is all this, right, boils down to like washing your hands. Yeah, so even in cars, they're saying that, you know, if you're worried about it, you use your hand sanitizers because you can't wash your hands outside, right? So you just basically, just clean your hands actually.
So 20 seconds, wash with
Oh, yeah.
soap, and then of course that is
yeah.
2 times of the happy birthday song.
Yes, I think at least 15 to 20 seconds.
15 to 20 seconds.
Yes.
Now, Joyce, the confirmed cases so far are mostly those in their 30s and above. Now, those with underlying illnesses, they're also more susceptible to the infection, right?
Yes.
What if you're younger than 30? Are you less at risk? What are the experts saying on that?
The experts are saying the coronavirus tend to affect those with underlying illnesses. So far of the serious cases, right, the severe or the fatal cases, about 80 to 90% are those with the elderly or those with underlying illnesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also there's also talk about the virus spreading more easily in cold weather. Now, back in 2003,
Yes.
the SARS outbreak also eased significantly when the hot weather came.
Yes.
So the question is, will it be the same case for this coronavirus? What did the experts say?
Yes, I guess, yeah, but they don't have the answer. So they say they don't know because we're still learning about the virus as the day goes by. Some think so. I think we had a Ask ST column. We have Professor Paul Tambaya. He said, he thinks that by June it will be quiet. When I spoke to Professor Su Liang, he said we don't know enough. And in Singapore, we have hot weather throughout, and we have influenza the whole year through. So it's kind of hard to tell this one, yeah.
Right. But regardless of it, like what you said, what is most important in this current situation now is to observe proper hygiene.
Hand hygiene, yes.
Hand hygiene.
Yes.
Wash your hands frequently.
Yes. Before you eat.
Before you
going to the
eat.
toilet.
Before you go to the washroom. And
Yes.
of course, do not touch your face with your hands, with unclean hands.
Yeah.
Right?
Your hands are not clean, yeah. Because
Right.
even if you wear a mask and you don't wash your hands and you touch your eyes or something, it's just
There's still contact
pointless.
transmission.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but the
With
risk
your
is
hands-
very low,
with
but
your-
yeah, it's
I
possible.
mean, with your hands that are with your hands that are not
Yes.
clean, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Joyce, for coming onto the show again. To answer all these questions that have been weighing on people's minds, and certainly, for those of you watching us at home, also, if you have any questions or you want to get your questions answered, you can read more on our Ask ST column on the Straits Times website. There we have it, our top stories for today. For more news and videos, do log on to straitstimes.com. Once again, I am Haryanto. See you tomorrow for more stories on The Big Story.